Coming up on today's episode of PSN, the world champion is here. Cyclist Alex Hayward is crowned world championship in Belgium. He's here to react to the race and how things are going with him. Let's get started.
Welcome to Parasport Nation with Alex Smyth and Nathan Clement.
Welcome into Parasport Nation. I'm your host, Alex Smyth, and yes, joined again by Nathan Clement, co-host. It is great to have you back in the fold, Nathan, once again. It just wasn't the same without you chiming in and being my co-host on this program.
Yeah, who was going to talk about gas stations? So that's very important that I'm back, I'm here, and we have an absolutely amazing episode with a friend of mine, roommate of mine, and now world champion. So I cannot wait for everyone to hear and listen to the conversation that we had with Alex Hayward later on in this episode.
Yeah, definitely went in a different kind of direction than I anticipated, and definitely a welcomed one. So we're going to get into that conversation. But first, a bit of news off the top, and I wanted your reaction to this, Nathan, because Paralympian Matthew St. Pierre secured the big win in the VL2 10-kilometer race at the Para-Canoe Marathon World Championships. I, full transparency, did not know there was a marathon world championship for para-canoe, but it got me thinking, and I want your thoughts on this. What parasport would you love to see have a marathon to it? Obviously, ones like your cycling already have pretty long races, but to go from like a 2-kilometer race that is kind of the standard for like the canoe to now a 10-kilometer, like that is a big jump. So what parasport would you love to see in a marathon form?
Well, the easy answer would be athletics, but I've been thinking about this since this was posed, and obviously with cycling, I would love to have like ultra marathons. Like we have a 200, 250, 300 kilometer race. That'd be amazing, but we've also had in recent years in the sport of swimming, had swimming marathons go on, and especially I know a lot of like open water swimmers where they do races of 10, 15, 20, 50 kilometer races. And I think if we were able to get a swimming like marathon, a 42.2 kilometer swimming marathon, that would be maybe not the most exciting race to watch for the first 41 kilometers, but that last K is going to be pretty exciting if the race is close. But I think that would be an amazing, amazing event. But how about you, Alex? Is there a sport that stands out that'd be amazing as a marathon?
Well, one that I think would be really fascinating, and it's a different type of marathon, but I get excited thinking about this. What about paraclimbing? So it's a marathon in a different sense. It's just the walls you're climbing, most likely you have to do an actual rock face for it. It's going to be a pretty long one, but like imagine we're seeing these competitors, they're going up full surfaces on the side of a mountain or a rock face, and they are really pushing themselves to the limit. It's a different type of approach to the marathon question, I know, but that has me truly excited. What do you think about that?
That'd be very interesting. More of a long distance scramble or climb. Mm-hmm. It would be, yeah, that would be super fascinating. But I know either way, friend of the program, Seamus Bullian, would probably win. So it would be pretty exciting to see what he could do in a situation like that.
Now, Nathan, you are a former swimmer. Would you have ever attempted to do a marathon swim like the one you suggested?
I would try it, yeah. I would definitely try it. I've heard so many stories about the events, the places they got to go to, and even last year, Nicholas Bennett won a marathon swim race. So it is something that's slowly creeping into paraswimming ever so often, but it would take a lot of training, and you would have to be super careful which waters you go into, because there's stories of swimmers that have done races with sharks circling them and other stuff like that. So you're not just focusing on the racers, you're focusing on who or what's around you in the water.
Yeah, well, in the case of Alex Hayward, the amount of training he's done, he didn't have to worry about who or what was around him because he was crowned world champion in Belgium at the World Championships for paracycling. We are so excited to have him join the program. As I mentioned, he is the C3 time trial world champion in the men's category, but also took home bronze in the C3 61.6 kilometer road race. Here's our conversation with Paralympian Alex Hayward. Alex, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
So obviously, congratulations on the big win over in Europe. I'm curious, what did your training look like leading into the World Championships?
Well, it was kind of an adjustment year for me this year. I decided after the games last year that I much prefer to live in New Brunswick and kind of make a go at training from home and being a little bit more involved in my workplace, being closer to friends and family and stuff like that. So there was a lot of change, and for that reason, I wasn't really sure how many hours I was going to be able to do per week, kind of what the quality was going to look like, how tired I was going to be. But to my surprise, I've already done as many kilometers this year as I did all year last year. So things are going really well. I'm managing to get, all of my hours in. I think I was underestimating the value of having a little bit more of a complete life, putting a little bit, not enough value on being able to see friends when I want to, or family when I, having that be a little bit closer. So honestly, I went 8 months leading up to World Championships and didn't miss a single workout. So pretty picture perfect for me this year, realistically.
Alex, congratulations. Just the pride and how amazing it is for you to get your first World Championships is absolutely just really phenomenal. All the work, everything you put in, you deserve it so much. Can you take us through that race day and what it was like crossing the line and realizing you were a world champion?
Yeah, I had a bit of a rough start, honestly. I mean, I think it all started the day we were going to go into the airport. I picked my bike bag up and hurt my back pretty good, which I've never done before. I figure I'm getting old maybe. But yeah, so I was kind of battling this back injury all week, and it was improving kind of daily, and we kind of had a handle on it by the day time trial came around. But I woke up in the middle of the night that night, and it was like right back to square one all over again. So I was a bit worried about that. Affected my sleep, obviously. So I felt a little bit like things were going against me. And then, yeah, I showed up to the race course with the wrong skin suit as well. So it was a little bit all out of sorts until I got right on the start line. Luckily, the team was exceptional and got me all sorted and figured out. And I figured, I knew I had the fitness and I just needed to have a good day. And I got about a quarter of the way through the first lap, and it's kind of looking at power versus heart rate and thinking, oh man, I'm about to have a really good day here. So I just had to kind of keep composed and I couldn't hear in the radio whether I was 6 seconds up or 6 seconds down. So I didn't really know until I crossed the finish line and I heard it over the loudspeaker, but yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, I think it's one of those things you picture in your head to keep you motivated. Say if you're training indoors or out doing a workout you don't feel like doing. So to finally have it happen for real was pretty special for sure.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a tremendous result. But I want to focus in on the leading up to that race, because you just described everything. Any number of those issues that other competitors could have encountered could have really set them back in the race, but you excelled regardless. Like, how much pride do you take in that mental toughness? Because like not getting the right sleep, not having an injury going into the race, not having the right gear on race day, like any one of those things could really have an impact on your race, but it didn't have it on yours. So how much do you pride yourself on that mental toughness to overcome those kinds of issues and still compete at your best?
Well, I was kind of forced to learn that at a pretty young age. I mean, I think as a 15-year-old kid being told you might never get to do the things you love to do again, you got to kind of start looking at the big picture a little bit more than the little things. So, yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, but I've had a decent amount of practice, so I figured I all I needed was to get on the start line, and that I had the legs to do it. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of go in cruise control in those moments, and luckily for me, cruise control isn't a super big panic, so it worked out. Who knows? Maybe it would have gone better if I'd looked at my skin suit a little harder and brought the right one, but we made it happen anyway.
That's absolutely amazing. And one amazing thing in like that resolve that you have, you have amazing parents that I've gotten to know over the years, but what was it like sharing that moment with them in Belgium?
Yeah, I mean, I think they had a bit of regret this year not coming out to the World Cups, because it was, two places they've been before, but I had excellent results. And at the end of the day, they really like watching me compete. But I think for them to watch me, be on the podium is kind of that cherry on top. And they felt a little bit like they missed out last year in Zurich, because they came home and missed those podiums, and then kind of missed out on all the success this year at the World Cup. So I knew for a fact they would be coming. And I think the cool thing too is being, I moved home until while I was house shopping, I guess. So I spent a whole lot of time with them. And I had several conversations with Dad. He's a numbers guy, and just kind of talking about like thinking I had what it takes this year to really win, and how exciting that would be. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of like the Paralympics for me. The whole experience is unbelievable, but the things I'll remember the most is getting to share that with the people I love right away. And it was a similar experience here, and I'm pretty grateful I get to do that time and time again.
Well, the results have certainly spoken for themselves. I can hear it in your voice that you're really enjoying this new kind of environment you set up for yourself, being at home, being close to that family network, your friends. Like, is this something that you're going to try to keep with you and keep grounded and stay closer to home base going forward now as a result?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think I've gone the last decade without living in the same place for more than 18 months at a time. So I've been looking forward to, there's some goals that I've had since I was in like grade 9 or 10 that I'm finally being able to achieve. And one of those is to, have a home base in New Brunswick that allows me to stay there for, as long as I feel. I finally got the keys to my new house last Friday. So that'll be a pretty good reason to stick around, I think. Obviously, it'll be a bit of adjustment and have its own challenges. But after the year I just had and kind of weighing out the pros and cons, I think it's definitely the right move going forward. And so, yeah, the plan is to be here, until I'm forced to do otherwise, I guess.
First off, congratulations on the new place and getting to know you over the years. Alex, you've always been that definition of a professional, balancing work, school, training, always finding ways where often you're working from 7 till 5 and then you're on the bike for who knows how long in the evening. How have you been able to balance that training, that school, and that work over the years?
I don't know. I think the biggest thing we did this year on the training side that made a big difference is we made things a little bit more flexible, in the sense that instead of being given specific things to do on specific days, it's more of a total hours for the week. And I'd like you to get these 2 workouts done somewhere within the week. So I get to build my own schedule based off, if I'm stuck at work for 13 hours one day, I'm probably not going to do my intervals on that day. But one of my strengths, I guess, is being disciplined enough to get all the hours in and all the workouts in regardless. So I'd say that's the biggest change. But I think the thing that surprised me the most this year is how much being on site at the workplace and interacting with our kind of work team has positively influenced my training. So, I've been on this big construction site pretty much since the snow melted here in St. John. And we've got a small crew here that go out, 12 hours a day, and they're pouring concrete and putting up form work and working really hard, regardless of, what they've got going on at home or what the conditions are out there. And it's made it pretty tough to kind of feel sorry for myself for having to ride my bike for an hour and a half, 2 hours after work and skip a workout. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest surprise is that's been helping me a lot this year, but also just the flexibility with Cycling Canada to let me do my own thing a little bit more.
I would be remiss if we didn't also talk about the bronze you picked up in Europe in the road race event. I'm curious how you were able to kind of reset after the big win in the time trial, kind of cool down, recover, and then prepare yourself for the road race.
Well, first of all, it was a really good course. I was pretty excited about the course. It was definitely going to be challenging because we often do, had less. Some of the nations had big teams in the race with lots of talent, and most Europeans get to road race every weekend if they feel like it. So I guess the odds definitely weren't in my favor, but I knew I was probably fitter than most of the guys out there this year, and I was pretty determined to be on the podium again this year. Mike Sametz, who had a nice little comeback there at World Championships this year. He came in with a lot of confidence and really wanted to be involved in the road race this year. And we came up with a plan that worked, exceptionally. We came over the first hill after, I think we were 3 kilometers into the race. We're already down to 8 guys, thanks to him. So definitely got to give him some credit for that. And then, we just kind of whittled it down. I eventually found myself almost exactly in the same situation as Paris. And had told myself if I ever get in that situation again, I'd probably do everything I could not to finish 4th. So, I think road racing is one of those things where you have to be in a lot of situations and learn from them before you can do it right the next time. Either that or be way fitter than everyone else, which isn't always the option. So, I'm pretty happy to be on the podium in that situation and come out with a 3rd instead of a 4th like at Paralympics. So. Yeah, super pleased with that one as well. And looking forward to kind of taking what I learned from that one and using it in the next one.
One of the big things I saw, at least on social media or talking to people while the World Championships were going on, was the caliber of the course. How big, how twisty, even the big climb that you had leaving the city. Like, I got to see little bits of it when I was there for the prep camp we had in May, but can you talk more about just the course and the environment that it was like in Ronce, Belgium? We
touched on it a little bit probably after the Paralympics, but it's just kind of an exciting time for para sports in general, I think, because there's lots of growth going on there. We had some of the best media coverage we've ever had, hot seat, all these different little things that make it feel more and more like able-bodied world championships, which, it's just an easy thing to compare. I'm not saying it's, we absolutely have to be on that same level, but having it be our, able-bodied counterpart right there, it's pretty neat to see that we're slowly creeping to that level. And yeah, anytime you're in Europe, the fans are incredible. And then, like you mentioned, the course. I think the course is, again, para cycling is getting to a level where, I think the races can continue to get harder and longer, and it's not unfair to, the people competing. So we saw it last year with Zurich, kind of a tough course there. And again, here this year in Belgium, I think it's just cool to see it headed in what I think is the right direction and arguably making it funner for us competing and funner for the people watching. So just exciting times, I guess.
Did it surprise you at all, the level of media coverage, given that it's that what normally people kind of would view as a bit of a lull? It's a year after the Paralympics, so all the big hubbub around media coverage on parasport tends to die down until the next, until you get to the end of the quadrennial. Did it surprise you, the level of media attention?
Yeah, I think you'd be silly not to expect kind of what you've seen up till now. I think the best media coverage we've seen at a world championship so far was maybe Glasgow and Zurich, but again, they were combined, those were kind of combined world championships. So you don't really know if that's because, the gear's already there, or, because they really truly want to put this much effort into it, right? So you always got to kind of expect the worst, I guess, and to see that it was beyond anything we've seen so far, like helicopter coverage is pretty cool. So again, I think it's just everything kind of dominoes. You get more coverage, you get more viewers, and because there's more viewers, they're more likely to show it, and the more you show it, the more people get involved and get exposed to the sport. So I think it's kind of a cool little domino effect that's going to have a lot of really positive impact on the sport going forward.
Yeah. You mentioned talking about just the caliber of races, and that's one of the great things, like just talking to you over the years, talking about all the guys you're going up against, the Finley Grahams, the Ben Watson, the Eduardo Santos, like all these different guys are high caliber athletes, but you also have like Louis Hubert, who's really taking those big steps forward. What do you think paracycling is going to look like in the next 5-10 years with just the caliber of athlete and racers that's coming into the sport?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I think the tough part, and it's probably like a lot of kind of amateur sport in the world right now, is we're slowly coming to a point where to be a super competitive athlete in the sport, you need to almost devote 100% of your time to it. But there isn't quite enough funding, or, it's not enough to live off of. So, I think we'll get to kind of a turning point where it'll either start to plateau a little bit, or more opportunities will come of it somehow. I don't think it'd be impossible for most, if not all, successful paracyclists in the near future to have to be on some kind of pro team if their disability allows it. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't think it's going to plateau anytime soon, and I think people are taking it more and more seriously. So again, I think that's kind of an exciting thing, but will be an interesting turning point if it does come time. Like I think we're getting pretty close. So the level is, I know, talking with Mike, like, he's been involved since 2016 or maybe 2015. So he's seen it happen, and yeah, it's definitely trending in a very fit direction. So I don't see it stopping anytime soon, but I wonder at what point people have enough time to do anything else. So we'll see.
Oh, and speaking of which, we'll wrap up the conversation on this, Alex. What's next for you? You're back home now after the World Championships. Seems like you got a lot happening in your personal life, but what's next for you, not only personally, but also on the athletic side of things?
There's Track World Championships coming up in October, which I didn't feel quite prepared for. So I said no to that for the first time this year, just to kind of take a minute to reset. And, I've got this house thing going on, and I didn't think it would be a very good showing for me. So I've opted out of Track Worlds this year. But I've been doing as many local events as I can. I've never really had the opportunity to do, I did a team relay mountain bike race last weekend. There's a gravel race coming up this weekend. So people are a little bit more excited to see me at these events than I kind of envisioned. So I think that's pretty cool, and it's good for me, and it's good for Velo NB, I guess. So I'll do a couple of local things and then start right back up in the World Cups whenever they start this next year, and then go from there. Hopefully have another good season.
Well, best of luck for you going forward, Alex. Congrats again on the big win. Congrats on the new place, and we can't wait to see what's next for you in the world of racing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And that was our conversation with Alex Hayward. Nathan, first thought goes to you. I know he is your teammate, your close former roommate. What did you think of him in the big win?
I'm just so proud of him. He's worked so hard, the dedication, the sacrifice that he's put in, one for his schooling in engineering, but two, also his commitment on the bike. it's really been amazing. And even if I take a step back, I'll never forget like one of our first training camps together in Tucson, Arizona. For the whole 2.5 weeks, he was trying to finish his degree while getting out on the bike for 4-5 hours every single day in the blazing heat. And just you saw his commitment, you saw his dedication, but you also saw the hunger and humbleness that he displayed every single day. For him to get up there, perform, and get his first world championship, it's beyond deserved. And just the pride that I have, and I know the whole team and the community of cycling across Canada has for him, it's really special, because he deserves it more than anyone else for just that time, work, and commitment that he's put into the sport.
Yeah, relentless pursuit, I think, is the kind of the term that I think of when I think of Alex's commitment. And he's just been on a continual upward trajectory since he kind of burst onto the scene of paracycling. Like, it is a tremendous result for him. He is a world champion. No one can take that away from him. But what really stood out to me was the fact, like, he talked about all the changes that was happening in his personal life. He moved back to New Brunswick. He focused in on staying within his home network and his community. He wanted to be more grounded. And yet he was still able to achieve a world championship win. And that is just truly, truly tremendous. So that is absolutely well-deserved. I can't wait to see what happens next. And hopefully his next competition, things are a bit more settled. He's not having back problems. He's getting a good night's sleep. He's bringing the right gear to the race. And we'll see what the results are for there. But for now, we'll have to move on. And Nathan, you're not escaping today's episode without a bit of competition yourself, because I'm putting you to the test. You are under the gun, for this is an edition of Would You Rather?
Would You Rather? Parasport Edition.
So, I have 5 different scenarios, Nathan. You're going to answer one way or the other. Would you rather be the best player on a bad team or the worst player on a good team?
Does being the worst player on a good team mean we win stuff? Because that's been my whole life. I'll take worst player on a good team.
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with you, because then I can focus in on myself. I know I'm the weak link. I can continue to push myself to try to be better. I would take that as well. Okay, how about this scenario? Would you rather train with the latest adaptive technology or with the best parasport coach in the world?
I feel like I have the best parasport coach right now. So I'm already working training with them, but give me that latest equipment. Let's get fun with the gear. Let's get fun with the tech and just see what's possible on the bike.
So you're burning bridges with your coaching staff behind the scene. I'll be sure to let them.
I'm keeping them on. I'm keeping them on.
No. You get one or the other. You get one or the other. You dropped Matt. You dropped the rest of your team. You're getting gear, and that's it. You're going solo. I will let them know. We'll have the contracts terminated after the show. But okay. How about this next one? This one's a bit more of a legacy question for you. Would you rather have your sport featured in a major video game or Hollywood movie?
Wow, that's really got me to think. Well, cycling, as we know, has been in numerous films, usually not for the best reasons. So let's get it in a video game. I think paracycling in a video game would be fun. It would be different. It would be definitely rage-inducing, trying to balance the geometry and physics of a trike in a video game, especially when you try to corner. So I think in a video game would definitely be entertainment for viewers watching a Twitch streamer or watching someone throw a controller through a wall. So definitely video game for that.
If nothing else, there would be an increased appreciation or frustration around the realities of having a disability in the sport. So I would agree, because again, there's no say on what the movie would be or what it would focus on. So I think you made the wise choice there. Okay, here's another compelling question for you. Would you rather take home a silver at the Paralympics or a gold at the World Championships?
like I've been in this situation before.
Yeah, exactly. This is tailored for you, Nathan. So which one did you appreciate more is essentially what I'm asking you.
The World Championship meant the world to me. Being able to win a rainbow, being able to win 3 World Championships, it's one of the greatest honors of my life. But as a kid growing up, the dream was the Paralympics. The dream was to go to the games, and my whole sporting career was chasing that Paralympic medal. And to get that silver, it just has that weight to it. But it's not to diminish the World Championships gold, but that Paralympic silver just holds that power. It's that childhood dream come true.
Does that have anything to do with the fact it's just that multi-sport environment as well? That it's just the stage is just a little bit grander than the World Championship that's just focused on cycling?
I think with that, and this can be a whole deep dive conversation we can get into in a longer date, is with cycling, like on the able-bodied side, the World Championships actually hold more weight than an Olympic medal. But on the para side, the Paralympics only happen 1 every 4 years. Obviously, same as the Olympics. But it's just, that's kind of what you're training for. Every single quadrennial, you're going for that Paralympic medal. And just with sport in general, the weight of having that Olympic or Paralympic medal, it carries so much power and so much prestige. But at least for me, it's that multi-sport feel. It's that environment. But if you ask a lot of like able-bodied cyclists, they would take a rainbow jersey. They would take a world championship over a medal. But that's a whole deep dive conversation we can get into on a real hot debate day.
Well, I wouldn't want to end this Would You Rather without causing more debate and having more of a hot take. So let's end it on this, Nathan. This one's going to be very easy for you. Would you rather be a cyclist or a swimmer?
Oh, this is going to end well. It's like you teed that one up, eh?
Yeah, exactly. You've dug your hole, now lie in it.
I love my time as a swimmer. Swimming was a beautiful, amazing sport, but cycling, I can see cities, I can see locations, I can go out and explore. So it has to be cycling at the end of the day.
Yeah, no chlorine getting in your eyes. You get the beautiful vistas, as you say. I would agree. I think you made the right call there. But unfortunately, it's up to the audience now to decide if they agree with you or not. So with that, we will wrap things up there. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Parasport Nation. Like and subscribe to the channel to follow us now.